make. She let in thousands and thousands of terrorists at our southern border. 21 million people, of which thousands of terrorists have poured in. When I was there, I let in almost none, almost none. They had a chart that was a very well-known chart. I liked it very much. It's probably my favorite chart of all time. Remember that? I looked to the right. Let me see that chart. I looked. It's my favorite chart of all time, but it showed the great numbers that we had. But one of the numbers that was released recently was that in 2019, one of my years, I don't believe this number, by the way. It was done by Homeland Security. I appreciate it, but I don't believe it. I had no terrorists coming into the United States. They had zero. Now we have thousands. So I don't believe the zero, but the number was very low. 10, 12, 5. How can it be zero? But they actually have zero. That I had zero terrorists. So we used to check it, but we had very little. Now we have thousands and thousands of terrorists pouring into our country. It's so sad, and only bad can happen. Only bad things are going to happen. She imported migrants from terrorist hotspots all over the world, and now we have armies of jihadist sympathizers brazenly marching through the streets of our cities. I've never seen anything like it. Where did they come from? How did they get here? Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces that want to destroy Western civilization. The other day, in fact, it was yesterday, the FBI reported that Iran has spied on my campaign. I'm going to have to hire Alan Dershowitz. Only Alan Dershowitz could do it. Iran has spied on my campaign. Think of this. And given the information to Kamala. What's that all about? That alone should get me elected. Think of it. Iran got the information from my campaign and gave it immediately to Kamala and the campaign apparatus over on the other side. I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America. When I return to the White House, we will quickly restore stability in the Middle East, and we will return the world to peace. And remember the phrase, peace through strength. You know, I had no wars for 4 years. I remember crooked Hillary Clinton. Remember, she was up debating me, and she said, look at him. Look at his rhetoric. He's going to cause wars. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars, and that's what happened. We had no war for 4 years, other than I finished off ISIS. No war. First time in 78 years, by the way, just to brag a little bit, because nobody else is going to say it if I don't. Israel will have the support it needs and the powerful ally that it deserves in the United States. Here at home, I will ban refugee resettlement from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. We will restore the travel ban, some people call it the Trump travel ban, and keep the radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. That was upheld by the Supreme Court, and it really did work. Again, we had no terrorist attacks into the United States. Think of it. Now I'm talking United States, if that's okay. We had no terrorist attacks for 4 years. Nothing. Nothing. They knew, don't play games with us. And we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our midst. We will get them out. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, we will throw you out of our country so rapidly your head will spin. We're going to get them back. We're going to get those beautiful kids in some cases, because they're always your children. You know, they'll say, oh, he said children. No, they're always your children. And some older people also, by the way, but we're going to get them back. We got to get them back. We can't let this happen again. So incredible that you're, to make the trip, so many people. It makes me realize how important this is, Miriam, frankly, for so many people to make the trip. And there's nothing more important than what you're going through. And there's nothing more important than the people that you love. And it will be so beautiful. to see it work out well. We got to make it work out well. Got to make it. And to confront the crisis of anti-Semitism at our universities, I will tell college presidents that they must end the anti-Semitic propaganda, or they will lose their accreditation and they will lose all federal support. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is the most important election in the history of the United States, and it's also the most important election in the history of Israel. Can you imagine that? A non-Israeli election is the single most important election that Israel will ever have. Isn't that something? With all I have done for Israel, I received only 24% of the vote. But I understood that. That was in 2016. And, you know, it's one of those things. I thought I'd do much better. I happen to have a Jewish daughter. I have a Jewish son-in-law. I have 3 Jewish grandchildren. I thought I'd do much better. But I only got 24%. Think of that. And then I became president of the United States and was the best president ever for Israel and for the Jewish people by far. Nobody was close. I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the Abraham Accords. I recognized the capital of Israel and opened the embassy in Jerusalem. And most importantly of all, I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was the worst deal ever made in the history of Israel, in the history of the Middle East. I was there 4 years, gave them billions and billions of dollars. I was the best friend Israel ever had. And still in 2020, now I've done all these things, so now Jewish people have no excuse. I got 29%. I went from 25 to 29%. Think of that. Honestly, you didn't treat yourselves well. You didn't. It was a terrible thing. And what made me even more upset about it is the current polling has just been announced. Now, I just announced the polls and I'm now polling at about 40%. That means 60% of Jewish people are going to vote for Kamala or a Democrat. And honestly, you ought to have your heads examined. You ought to have your heads examined. And those votes may be necessary for us to win. I say us to win because we're in this together. But who are these people? Who are the 60% that would vote? And I really believe that bad things, very bad things are going to happen. And I'll put it to you very simply and as gently as I can. I wasn't treated properly by the voters who happen to be Jewish. I don't know, do they know what the hell is happening? If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy. Israel, in my opinion, will cease to exist within 2 years, and I believe I'm 100% right. You know, there's a hat that comes out, Trump was right about everything, and I believe I'm right. And that's a hell of a thing to say, but I believe I'm right. If I do win, Israel will be safe and secured. We will stop the toxic poison of anti-Semitism from spreading here. All over America, it's spreading. It's spreading like it's never spread before. I've never seen anything like it. I really believe it would be obliteration, and it'll happen quickly, too. It's very close to happening. With your vote, we will reject anti-Semitism in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy. We will reject it in our immigration system. But all of that starts with rejecting Kamala Harris at the ballot box this election. Number one, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She doesn't know. She can't do an interview. How do you think she'll do against President Xi? She can't do an interview. And I'm not even saying she's stupid for not doing that, but her handlers know what they're doing. Can't have it. We went through 4 years of that. We can't go through another 4 years of that. Together, we will save the United States of America, and we will save the state of Israel on November 5th, 2024. It will be the most important day in the history of Israel. It'll be the most important day in the history of the United States. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. God bless Israel. Thank you.